In this video, I'm going to show how to use GitHub projects to model our Scrum processes. So GitHub projects is built into GitHub, and you see if you click on the projects tab here, you can see all of your open projects. GitHub projects tends to use a Kanban style board, where Scrum tends to use a Scrum style board, but the two are very similar and we can have them operate together. So the first thing that I would do is create a new project, and we're going to create a special project called RAID. And this is simply risks, assumptions, issues, and dependencies. So this is a special project. We'll just start it off as a basic Kanban project. This is a special project that we're going to use just to track anything that we want to make sure we don't forget about this semester, because it's going to be important for our development. It starts us off with some default issues. I'll go ahead and archive those. You can delete those as well if you want. But we can click on something like, how do we parse JSON? Need to figure this out. So anything that you have that's a to-do you don't want to lose track of, I'd put it up here in this RAID task. Let's add another issue. We'll say something like need to find a JSON REST endpoint with data to parse. So you see, very simple and straightforward. And by having this special RAID project, it's something that we can go through in each of our weekly stand-up meetings to make sure that we've covered all our dependencies and we don't have a surprise that comes and grabs us at the last minute. So that's a special one. Now, for the other projects, what I'd like you to do is take a look at your design document and look at the requirements and think of the stories that will come out of that. So a story should really be a user feature, not something technical, but something that your end users are going to understand. So one of my requirements here is the ability to search for plants. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to have this plant name field right here be an autocomplete. So as the user's typing, it will autocomplete with plants that match whatever the user's typing. So let's go back and choose new project, and we'll say plant name autocomplete. And then down here we'll say create an autocomplete field so that the results will filter based on what the user typed. Now, because this one actually has tasks we're going to do, unlike the previous RAID project, I'm going to make this an automated Kanban. So that's going to give me a few columns by default, and also it's going to give us some really handy automation that we'll take a look at in just a moment. Let me go ahead and choose Create Project. So project, think of that like a story. Now, once we're in here, think of these like sprint tasks or the individual technical tasks that we need to accomplish that story. So a couple things are going to help us with that. First of all, we'll click again and we'll say add autocomplete text view widget to screen. So you see, this is a technical task. I choose add, and now an important step, I need to choose convert to issue. So we can maybe add some more detail in here as well. So add an autocomplete text view widget to the screen. This will show results as the user is typing. Something like that. Convert to issue. Now we have an issue, and we can drag this to in progress and done, as we often do in Kanban. There are several really handy tools that GitHub gives us as well. First of all, some of this can actually be done automatically, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. In other words, automatically when this work is complete. Secondly, take a look at labels. Labels allow us to categorize this task. So I could say it's a bug, it's documentation, it's duplicate, or it's an enhancement. Let's go ahead and say it's an enhancement, and I click away and you notice that the enhancement label appears. One cool thing about labels is I can make my own labels as well. So if I click on labels, filter labels, I can say Brandon, and then we can say create new label Brandon, and we can choose a color. We can kind of randomize it like so. We'll go ahead and go with that color. And now you notice that the Brandon label is applied, which means that this is a task that I'm working on. So you could make labels for each of your individual team members, and you can add them to these tasks. Notice that you can add more than one label. Might be a good idea to add a blocked label as well so that you can very visibly see anything that is blocked. For that, we want it to be red, so let's just make it a bright red like so, and then blocked. And once again, in your daily stand-ups, you can look at what's blocked, and you can focus on those, and you can discuss how to unblock them. Let's make another task. We'll say parse JSON with retrofit library. Okay, and we want to give it a bit more detail than that, so we'll convert to issue, and we'll say add retrofit to build.gradle. And we'll say maybe create retrofit client instance, and so on and so forth, and we'll go ahead and say convert to issue. Now let's take this issue, and once again let's apply some labels to it. We typically want to be working on only one thing at a time, so I'm not going to add the Brandon label to this, but let's go ahead and add the enhancement label just like so. Now, why add labels? Well, one thing is it lets us categorize and see those categories very quickly and also see who's assigned to what. Another really handy thing about labels is that we can use them to filter. So notice if I click on enhancement, notice that that's a filter option that we have here under issues, and it's saying show me only open issues with the label enhancement. I could change that to Brandon, and it will show me only those issues that are tagged to Brandon. I can change it to blocked, and this is really nice because it can show me only those issues which are blocked. And blocked issues are a good way to start our stand-up so that we can work through those blockers, at least discuss them at some point during our stand-up. Okay, so let's run back to our plant name autocomplete, and we see we have a couple things going on. Of course, I can add some more tasks. One more thing that I want to do is add a milestone. So milestone is a good way to say we want to have this done by about this time. I would use this as a sprint goal. So I'm going to go to milestone, and let's say milestone will say release 1.0 sprint 1, something like that. Create and assign new milestone. So now you see I've given a milestone to this first issue, and I'll go ahead and give the same milestone to the next issue. So once again, think sprint goal. Think this is something we want to get done by a certain sprint. We can see all of our milestones by going up to the Issues tab, and then we can click on Milestones, and we can see Release 1, Sprint 0, and once again, this will give us an idea of everything that we have targeted for this milestone. So we can review this in our stand-ups as well, and make sure that we're making good progress for our sprint goal. These are all very invaluable tools for the Scrum Master of your team, and also the product owner. Now let's go back to this issue we created earlier. So we're going to say, well, all right, it's no longer blocked. So we can click and we can untick blocked, and there we go. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and move this into enhancement. Now this is a bit of an advanced topic, so don't worry if you've not seen this before, but I want to show some of the automation that's available in GitHub projects. Since this is a new feature, I'm going to say I want to create a new branch, and we'll call this autocomplete text view. Or autocomplete plant name, even better. Check out branch, and we'll say OK. Okay, now I'm going to do my changes, and after I do my changes, I'm going to right-click and I'm going to say Git Commit. And a few changes I had staged prior to this video, so what's in the changes isn't so important, but I'm going to go ahead and do a commit and a push. Let that go for just a moment, and push. Now take a look at what happens on GitHub. It notices that we have a brand new branch called autocomplete plant names, and it asks us, do we want to compare and create a pull request? So I go ahead and say, yes, I do, and I say create pull request. Now I haven't yet merged the pull request, I've simply created the pull request. With that, let's go back to our project. Now at this point, we're assuming that we've actually committed and pushed the changes that are required for this task. We haven't merged them into master yet though, and that's what we'll do when we know that we've met the definition of done. So take a look, I can click on this issue and then I can associate it with the pull request that I just created. And all of a sudden you see it has one linked pull request. Let's go ahead to the other issue and let's do the same thing. Let's link it to the pull request that we just created, just like so. And now let's go back to that pull request and let's go ahead and choose merge and confirm merge. So we're merging it into master. And now let's go back to our board and take a look. You might have seen there just at the last second that these items automatically went to done. So with an automated board, we can associate our issues with a pull request. And when that pull request is complete, and when it's merged into master, it will automatically move our tasks to done, or we can move them there manually. But automatic is great, right? Because you don't have to do any work. So we can go back, we can take a look at our milestones again. We can see release 1, sprint 0, and we see that the tasks that used to be open are now closed. And so this puts everything together nicely. So one really nice thing about GitHub projects is the way that it helps to integrate everything together. You can do very simple projects like our RAID project where it's all just issues that you're taking a look at with no automation, or you can go back and you can do an automated project like the one we just did where we take tasks that have to be done, we associate labels with them, we associate them to milestones, and we can associate them to a pull request and have everything come together automatically very quickly. I hope this video has been helpful, and I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you.